Okay, once you have that added, look up what page you're gonna be on. Write it next to there. So mine's on page 9. Then on whatever page you're on, add the title.
Oh, I love that. That's so funny. You're like,
And underline it. Okay. Kale's not here today, so somebody else, Alana, is going to tell us what the objective is.
What day is it? I can explain and identify properties of multiplication.
All right, write it down.
subtraction and.
There are no properties of subtraction.
Well, actually there is. It's called 1 + 1 = 0.
You said plus.
Oh.
So
1 - 1 = 0. That's a thing.
write down your objective.
She was on page 8 yesterday.
Okay, so yesterday when I recorded, I used the other class's notebook, and this one's your notebook.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay, so these are very similar to yesterday, except they apply to multiplication instead of addition, right? So there's minor changes. Mostly it's the same ideas. Okay, so what was the first property we discussed yesterday? Or are you commutative? Commutative property. Instead of addition, guess what? Of multiplication. You take that up with the person that designed it.
Who is that? Okay.
Don't know. Highlight that for me, please. Okay, what did we say the commutative property of addition? What did that do?
When 2 or more are added, when 2 or more are added, it does not affect its.
2 or more numbers are added. The order doesn't affect the answer, right? So what we're gonna say is the order in which 2 or more numbers are multiplied does not affect. Now, yesterday we said the sum. What's the word for the answer to a multiplication problem? Does not affect the product. Ooh, it's kind of bad handwriting. I was walking and talking.
Use your straight lines and then make it better.
I know. See if I can get that to go. Okay, so our example for this is going to be A times B equals B times A. Doesn't matter what order we multiply them, you're still going to get the same answer. For example, what's 5 times 2? 10. What's 2 times 5? 10. Didn't matter which one came first, right? 0 times 1? 1 times 0? It works, right? All right, what's the next property we talked about yesterday? The closure property.
Closer.
And we gotta highlight that. Because you know, we highlight stuff. Okay, what did the closure property tell us yesterday? The sum of two real numbers is also a real number. So guess what? Yes. The product of two real numbers is a real number. Okay, so all this is saying is 3 times 2 is always going to be 6. It's never going to be like I or E or pi or weird things like that. Okay. Well, I guess it could be pi. No. Yes, you can plug your phone in. Okay, what's the next property we talked about yesterday? Associative property. There's not really one for that.
Zero times zero equals time. Is that open?
That is a property. We'll get there. Okay, what did the associative property have to do with yesterday?
The order in which we are
Grouping. The word grouped is important because the associative property is all about parentheses. Okay, so the order
orderly fashion. I got it.
in which numbers are grouped for multiplication does not affect the sum. Oh, the product. Good catch. Product, because we're multiplying.
Oh, I took somewhere.
Erase.
I am going to pen.
Right over it.
Properly. I did.
So many solutions. You choose the one you like.
I scribbled it out.
Look at it. Okay. So for this one, parentheses A times B times C is the same as if you do A and move the parentheses around B times C. Okay. Does not matter what order you put the parentheses on. It works. All right. We have enough time. Is anybody still writing? Give you a break. What's the property we talked about next? Identity.
Oh, I actually got that.
All right. The identity property of addition said what? 0 added to any real number is that real number. Now, is this going to work for the identity property of multiplication? No. How do I get the same number back when I multiply? 1. So any number multiplied by 1 is itself.
So for I said identifies an identity for every single one. So it's I meant.
Okay.
I told you it was identity.
So A times 1 equals A. It doesn't matter what A is. You always get that number back.
My entire day when I have to go to 7. Yeah, which makes
There is this thing called an identity element. Yesterday it was 0. The identity element of multiplication is 1. Yep. Yes, please.
Did we do that yesterday?
it's probably identity wrong again.
All right. This should be the last property we talked about yesterday.
Inverse.
Inverse.
Huh? I can't see. Oh, fuck. Here you go. Equals what?
All right. So, Lucas, what does the inverse property do in addition? Do you have notes? You should.
Flips it. Like the opposite.
No, flip your paper over and look at the.
Thanks, Krishna.
Okay. So, with this, instead of getting 0, we're going to get 1. So, stick with me here. You'll understand it once you get all the parts. But the product of any real number, let's just say any number, and it's multiplicative, that's a fun word to say, and spell. Multiplicative inverse is 1. This make sense to anybody yet? Do we know what the multiplicative inverse is yet? It's not 1. 1 is the identity element. Oh, careful though, because 3 times -3 isn't 1, right? Okay, so we need to know what the multiplicative inverse is.
0.
It's the reciprocal of the number. Okay, so does anybody know what the word reciprocal means?
You switch it upside down. That was my good part.
You flip the fraction upside down, right? Okay, so the example for this is if I say A times 1 over A equals 1. All the multiplicative inverse is moving it to the bottom of the fraction. Okay, flip it over. Okay. There is one property that we did not discuss yesterday.
The property of 0. It's
The 0 property of multiplication. This one, I think, is the easiest one to remember. Guys, what happens if you multiply a number by 0?
0, automatically 0.
Any number multiplied by 0 is 0. Your example is a times 0 equals 0. Boom. Questions about this? Anybody need me to scroll up?
Down.
Okay, so if you're done, drop your pens or your highlighters or whatever. Okay, so what you're gonna do, hopefully this is gonna load, is find our class. Oh, look, I'm already in it. Let's go to the homepage first. Hey, just follow along for a second before you start opening your computers and all this. Look at today, August 25th. What's due today? 1.2, right here under August 25th. Okay, 1.2 is due today, so you need to go check your late work. Make sure you hit turn in on both of those. 1.4 is the new assignment. So in modules, yours will look like this. Go down, click on the 1.4 practice. Okay. Oh, it's because I'm on an iPad. Anyway, it is a CK12. It does not show up on the iPad because of the settings, but it's CK12. Most of it is identifying the property or the example of the property. Okay, but it mixes multiplication and addition, so you have to be careful when you pick your answer. Okay, if the problem says multiply, click multiplication. Questions, comments, concerns? Thank you. I say it all the time.
I know.
All right, we are done. You have the rest of the time to get that done. Brody, you can stay around or you can leave. It's kind of up to you. All right.
Mix.